This is NASCAR Coast to Coast on MotorRacingNetwork.com. Here's Kyle and Buddy.
Rolling along on this Wednesday afternoon here at NASCAR Coast to Coast on MotorRacingNetwork.com. The NASCAR K&N Pro Series East Division off this past weekend after racing at the Iowa Speedway 2 weekends ago. They returned to action on Saturday night at the Langley Speedway, and a driver that is in his rookie season joins us now in studio, Gray Gaulding. Gray, welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Thank you guys very much for having me. I appreciate it.
You were here for our inaugural show of Coast to Coast back at Daytona in February when we opened up the season with the Battle at the Beach.
Yes, sir.
And all the races down there. A lot has happened between then and now. Let's kind of talk about your rookie season so far in these NASCAR K&N cars. Top 5 in points. Can't complain about that. Have you been comfortable behind the seat in the first, 6 races now?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've had a really good season already. I can't thank Krispy Kreme Donuts enough, Toyota, Trumu, Anderson's Maple Syrup, all our partners that make this whole deal possible. But, season-wise, we're running in the top 5, running in the top 10. We've gotten in the top 10 all our races except one race in which Richmond actually sat on the pole and led pretty much the whole entire race, and unfortunately got into a run-in with another driver and it kind of took us out. But those things happen. There's a lot of ups and downs in this sport. To be top 5 in our rookie season, I can't thank my crew chief enough, Doug George and Doug Howe, that from a lot of coaching to I've only been to 2 places this whole year, which would be Langley and Bowman Gray. So I learn each and every weekend, and hopefully that win comes soon.
When we were back at Daytona, one of the things we talked about was when you were at North Wilkesboro running a late model in another series, and, what a thrill it was to talk to the Sterling Marlins and be around drivers like that. But going back to Daytona and Richmond and other racetracks, you finished second in the Battle of the Beach in that particular series at a high-profile facility. You go to Richmond, you'll win the pole position. There's been a lot of great things that have happened at some of the key places where there's a lot more people keeping an eye on some of this young talent, Greg.
Yes, sir, for sure. To go to a place like Richmond, we beat the record of Chase Elliott to be the youngest ever to get the pole and youngest ever to lead the most laps and to lead a lap. So we've done a lot this year, but at the end of the day, the competitor in me is always wanting to get that first win, to be the youngest ever to get that win. But a lot of hard work goes into our cars and my team and what we do each and every weekend. So we keep plugging along and working hard, and a lot of people don't really understand, to win a NASCAR race, everything has to go right. Every nut and bolt is got to be tight, and sometimes it just kind of got to fall. It has to fall in your lap, but we're going to keep on working hard. We're fast each and everywhere we go, and hopefully we can keep that going.
Compare some of these cars, these K&N cars, to some of the others that you've driven, and how has it been difficult for you to adapt? Because I know you've run some super late model stuff down here. Obviously, some legend car racing as well on Tuesday nights. How do these K&N cars compare to some of these other full-bodied cars that you've been in?
Well, there's a huge difference, especially with the horsepower side. Mm-hmm. But you go to like a little track with a Legends car, a lot of finesse goes into there. Those things. As soon as you drop the green flag, you go as hard as possible. So what I've learned is from the Legend cars to the K&N cars, the K&N cars, you got to be very smooth. You got to be easy on the tires, and sometimes it feels like the slower the better. Like at Richmond, when I ended up getting the pole, I almost thought I left something on the table. But at the end of the day, you just have to be real nice and smooth. But I'm learning a ton, especially with having, veteran crew chiefs like Doug George and Doug Howe, in which, Doug Howe, crew chief Ron Hornaday, and Doug George was with Kyle Busch. So, that always helps a lot. And to compare both cars and having great guys work on my stuff, like veterans like that, to teach me and help me each and every week is a huge plus. So I'm learning each and every time, like I said, but it's just all about, making laps and getting seat time and doing the best you can.
And kind of bouncing off of Kyle's question a few moments ago, as you head to Langley Speedway, which is a track that you do have a little bit of knowledge about, but in a late model car, this track was recently resurfaced at the beginning of 2013, and NASCAR is kind of waiving the rule where you can't practice or test at that track 7 days prior to the event. They are opening the track up for Friday for you guys to have a much-needed practice session to get those K&N cars dialed in. Comparing the late model to the K&N car, how big of an advantage is that for you guys to get all that testing time on Friday of this week?
It's a huge advantage. I thank NASCAR a lot for giving us the opportunity to get a lot of practice. I think the racing is going to be a lot better. We actually tested there, and we got to see a little bit, how you could actually race side by side for probably a little bit more laps than the old surface. But I actually won the Legends Nationals in 2010, youngest ever to do that. So I've got some pretty cool people and fans there. So I really can't wait to get back there. Knowing that I'm only an hour and a half. My hometown's only an hour and a half from Langley, but like you said, a lot of track time. That's very important, and I'm gonna get with my crew chiefs and see what we can do. This race is 175 laps. It's all about keeping those tires on it and being very smooth and keeping the nose on it. So a lot of tools are going to go into this race, and hopefully we'll be out on top.
Buddy mentioned the practice time. Are you able to test much at all outside of the tracks that the NASCAR K&N Series goes to at other short tracks in the region?
Not really. Just a little. Like Langley, they gave us the opportunity to go test there, and we get more track time, this Friday. So I wouldn't say, you can go to a place like Bowman Gray or places like that and test. But at the end of the day, like I said, track time is so valuable, and it is best. It's trying to get the car, the best as possible for lap 175. You see guys that can go out there and lead 130 laps, but those last 20, 30 laps are so important, and so that's what we try to focus on, especially with getting track time and testing and seeing what we can try and get better at.
That is Gray Gaulding joining us. Stick around. More with Gray after the break here on NASCAR Coast to Coast here on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
More NASCAR Coast to Coast coming up right after this.
Stay up to date with the latest news from the NASCAR Garage each weekday on NASCAR Today Midday.
At the end of the day, the more teams you have working together, the more information you have, the more ideas you have, I think would be better.
Hear from the day's newsmakers and get the latest news from the world of NASCAR.
It's important to be in those packs and learn what you can learn, especially with a new car.
NASCAR Today Midday each weekday on the Motor Racing Network.
I'm telling you, you boys are going to be busy if you're trying to follow us.
You already know what happened last weekend. Find out how and why on NASCAR Today right here each weekday.
We had two legs up on everyone. We've run good all year. We just hadn't done a very good job of closing the races.
It's not a fix-all for what we've got going on. I think that it's a step in the right direction.
Join me, Woody Kane, every weekday for NASCAR Today and hear what's driving the sport.
This team just never gave up, and that's what got us in the chase last year, so it's going to get us in there this year.
Now let's get back with Buddy and Kyle with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast.
Back with you here on MotorRacingNetwork.com. NASCAR Coast to Coast here and talking NASCAR K&N racing. And for a moment, we'll even talk the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series because we were talking testing a moment ago. Learned during the break that you were in a Camping World truck last week at Kentucky Speedway. Tell us a little bit about that test and how it went.
It was a great opportunity. I can't thank Toyota for inviting us out there and providing us with a motor and some tires. And, actually we got a KBM truck last year. My team owner did. And, we worked on it, and it's a great truck. And I got to make a lot of laps out there. Got to learn from Kyle Busch and Matt Crafton. I can't thank those guys enough for helping me out. But it's just so crazy, in a truck at Kentucky, the speeds already are 185 miles an hour. And that place doesn't have a lot of banking, so it's kind of a flatter track. But to run the speeds like we did, we were really fast. We were second and third quick most of the weekend, but we did a lot of old tire runs and just trying to get me that feel. I learned so much from the air. The air is so much bigger in the truck than it is the K&N car. So I've learned a bunch that whole weekend. A lot of people helped me out and taught me what I needed to know. But to go out there and follow like Kyle Busch and Matt Crafton and kind of see what their lines and seeing what they're doing is a huge tool as well.
Learning from two of the very best in the Camping World Truck Series business, that's for sure. With that test grade, does that lead to the possibility of some truck races a little bit later on this year or a preview into the 2014 season?
Yes, sir. Actually, I can't race. Unfortunately, I can't race any this year because of my age, but I'll be able to run, I think, 10 next year. So that's the plan. We're working with all our partners and Toyota and everybody that, supports us and kind of working on our plan and deal, what we need to do for next year. So it's kind of crazy. You know, we're not even halfway through the season in the K&N of 2013, and you're already working for 2014. So that's just kind of how the business goes. But had a lot of fun doing it. It's just so crazy. You know, the first thing I tell people is, you know, it's that one corner commitment. You're like, am I really going to hold it wide open going through turn 3 and 4? You know, it just feels like it's the corner's coming at you literally at 185 miles an hour. So learned a lot of high speeds, and hopefully when I get in that K&N car, we'll be a lot better as well too.
I heard it here first. Look for him next year in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, hopefully right here on the Motor Racing Network in 2014. Let's talk about NASCAR Next. Obviously, a big program that was announced last week, a week and a half ago at the Iowa Speedway. Talk a little bit about that program and what it means to you to be a part of that exclusive group of, you know, the young guns of this sport that NASCAR kind of has their eye on for the future.
Yes, sir. It's a huge honor. I can't thank NASCAR enough. You know, NASCAR does so much for the short trackers and us young talents out there as well. So to be able to be part of the NASCAR Next is a huge opportunity for not only myself, but, you know, always dreaming of being a part of something like that. And myself and my family, you know, not too long ago, making the gamble to move down here for my racing career. And it seems like it's all turning around, but can't thank NASCAR enough. You know, it's a really cool program. Just to know that you get to go to the first chase race in Chicago, get to see a whole lot of stuff and new stuff you don't get to see every day. But NASCAR does a great job of getting our names out there, and I'm just very fortunate to be part of that really cool class.
Hey, and a week ago, we had a chance to talk to Ryan Preece, one of the drivers who joined you at the Iowa Speedway by virtue of being a part of that NASCAR Next class. And he has just done great things at so many short tracks, but it's part of a maturation process. And, you know, we've had Kip Childress, your series director, on a couple of times this year. We had him on around the Bristol time, and then about just a few races later. And one of the questions we wanted to ask him was, did he see a great maturation process with a strong list of rookies that he had on the K&N Series? And he was very, very complimentary of the drivers, their teams, and how they had developed in such a short period of time with the challenging racetracks and all the pressures that they endured. And that's going to be a big part of being part of that NASCAR Next program, how you have matured. Have you been able to see that and just see the changes that you have made, not only from last year to this year, but the beginning of the season to the present?
Yes, sir, for sure. You know, just knowing the competition level. I mean, you're racing, you know, against Turner Scott Motorsports. You know, not only them, but a lot of really good race teams out there. And, you know, we're kind of our own deal right now. You know, we do what we have to do. And, you know, last year we got all the Joe Gibbs racing cars from which Darrell Wallace raced. And so we got really good cars. You know, it's just kind of all the things that you got to put together to win a NASCAR race. But like I said, the competition level each and every week is always tough. You know the guys you're going to have to go up against, like, you know, Brett Moffitt, you know, the Turner Scott guys, you know, Dylan Kwasniewski, them guys like that. So I learn, you know, as being a rookie, I go out each and every weekend just trying to learn from watching those guys and seeing what I can do better and hopefully get that victory, in which, you know, Langley coming up is one of my favorite racetracks I've ever raced on. And it's going to take everybody for a quick spin, you know, knowing that the track has already been repaved. So really looking forward to the rest of the season. But like you said, I've seen a huge turn in some of these teams and also our team.
A lot of young guns on the series this year, and a very diverse schedule. I mean, we look at the tracks: Bristol Motor Speedway, Richmond International Raceway, Bowman Gray, Iowa. You got Dover and Rockingham in New Hampshire, and 2 road courses this year. What kind of a road course racer are you? Going to a VIR, Virginia International Raceway. That was announced a few weeks ago in Richmond, and then Road Atlanta later this fall.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait. Never raced, you know, in a stock car on a road course, but actually won the championship out there at Charlotte Motor Speedway on the road course in the pro division. So that was really cool. You know, it's all about experience. You know, I've got a lot of guys trying to help me out. You know, Max Pappas has helped me out a ton. Can't thank him enough. Just trying to teach me and help me out on going through the gears and being easy with the brakes and not overdriving the corners and stuff like that. So, you know, it's just all about learning. Just another track and another place you go to that you have to learn and make laps and get seat time at. But you know, when I saw the schedule this year and I saw we were going to Road Atlanta and they just announced, you know, going to VIR, it's really cool. You know, especially VIR being a place where I used to go there with my dad and my grandpa watching superbike races. So kind of sentimental there, but hopefully we get a win before that. But it'd be really cool to get a road course win, that's for sure.
and getting a lot of good knowledge from a lot of people in the sport that can take you around tracks that they've maybe not raced on, but maybe similar to. And getting back to Langley Speedway, Gray, you're tied with Brandon Godovic for fourth in the series points right now. Brandon comes from that area, the Newport News area, so obviously he's got some history at Langley Speedway. And even though there's a difference between the late model stocks that run there on a Saturday night and the K&N cars, do you find yourself maybe bending the ear of a driver like a C.E. Falk saying, hey, can you take me around this track a little bit and tell me some of the nuances of this track to help me better get a grip on my K&N car?
Yes, sir, that's for sure. Going to those guys, and that's what's really cool about the racing community and NASCAR community. It's always great to feel open to ask some of the other drivers that you have good relationships with, like you said, Brandon Godovic. He's a veteran at that place, and some other guys that actually race in the series that like Ben Kennedy, I'm pretty close to. So it's really cool to be able to help those guys as well, even if they're having a problem, and that I'm a rookie, and they're trying to help me out as well. But at the end of the day, you just go out there and race, and if they show you a few pointers here and there, it's always a good thing.
Been a good start to your rookie season so far. Keep it up. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you soon after a win here. It seems like everybody else is getting these first wins. Hopefully, you can get yours here pretty quickly.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, that is Gray Gaulding taking some time to join us in studio here this afternoon. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. But before we go, I want to give a prayer. Say that we're praying for him, and Jason Leffler. Really hard to hear about his loss, but we're always thinking about him, and hope his family and everyone's doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Been a tough week for everybody in the motorsports world, especially those that knew Jason. Gray Gaulding joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, rookie leader in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East Division.